T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Launch Sequence Podcast. We got a fun week ahead of us. It's me, the Astro Historian, and Chris back there. Chris is over there making sure he's got a capsule over him. He's making sure that we don't say anything that's too angry, which we're going to talk about Squadron 42 buybacks today. So sorry, buddy.
Chris is going to reach over and smack me in the back of the head when I say the bad things. So
it's okay. Sometimes you got to say the bad things. Welcome in, folks. This is our weekly Star Citizen podcast. Every week I am joined by a new guest to talk about something pretty interesting about space games, largely Star Citizen. And this week we are jumping into 4.8. We got Refueling coming. We're talking about some crafting stuff. Plenty of stuff actually being added in for crafting, from industrial stuff to ship weapons. Finally, we're also talking about what else is going on throughout the year, what's happening with Squadron 42, and Star Citizen Live this week had some pretty big updates from some pretty important names, so we'll be going through that as well. Thank you for joining us. If you want to jump to any specific section, check the chapters down below. If not, let's dive in, dude. How have you been?
Been good. I will say, I'm going to hijack the very beginning a little bit.
Hijack.
Is that today is also the Pragmata launch.
Oh.
So, which is space Last of Us. It's where you're a guy, just a guy, and you find a little girl who happens to be a robot, and you hate both girls or little children and robots, and then you have to
Okay.
It's what do they start calling them, like daddy shooters, where like you play a father and you have to protect your child. There's like God of War, Last of Us, now Pragmata. It's sort of like the
Does BioShock 2 count as a daddy shooter?
Yes, 100%. BioShock 2 is the original daddy shooter. All right, literally the daddy shooter. Spoilers for a game that's like 12, 15 years.
Sorry,
now.
you play as a big daddy. Oh no.
Yeah.
So Pragmata, though, the thing that gets me with Pragmata, and I'm sorry, I might sound like a snob when I say this, but it's made with, I think, the Decima engine, right? So it looks a little bit like the kind of like Final Fantasy sort of
plastic
aesthetic.
dolls.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't quite get me with the graphics, but how does it play?
I haven't played it yet, but I've been seeing people play it, and I am going to play it later. From what I can gather, it's pretty good. It's very cinematic in terms of, like, a lot of it is you have to kind of like that sort of storytelling. So if you don't like the aesthetics of sort of anime God of War in space, then you're probably not going to like it. But I'm a sucker for space stories, and a story centered around a guy who doesn't like robots and doesn't like children, having to grow fond of a child robot to save the world or themselves is interesting. It's adorable.
I look forward to hearing more about it, because I feel like I bounced off the aesthetic a little bit, but it does sound interesting. You going to do a video on it?
Probably. I'm a big fan of Lost Planet, and since that was a similar Capcom project,
I love Lost Planet.
And Capcom made Lost Planet, and I see it as sort of like that sort of genre or that sort of direction. So
I will. I'll keep an eye out for it. You know what else is happening next week?
What's that?
The Expanse going to beta.
Oh, the Expanse going to beta. I didn't know that. I was going to say Starfield also released its latest update recently. It's been a good month for space games.
It has.
It has been a good.
It has. There's also a No Man's Sky update too.
Yeah. There was No Man's Sky update. Gosh, what else was there? There's a bunch of indie games that are coming out that are, like, have a bunch of updates and fixes to them, or new releases. Like, there's one that's the robot game where you play a robot and you have to go around and figure out what's going on wrong with your ship. So there's indie games too that are getting, like, space indie games that are getting updates. So it's been good. Nice.
We're eating good. I love it. And Star Citizen, what kind of month has it been having? How has the game been treating you since 4.7 dropped?
Surprisingly good. I have enjoyed the game a lot.
Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with crafting.
Hold on. Blink twice if you're only saying that because Chris is behind you.
No, I'm not saying because Chris is behind me. All right.
I had to make sure.
He's a handsome man, and he can take a little bit of critique, but like, and I do actually have enjoyed it a lot. Now, have there been bugs and problems? Of course, it's Star Citizen. It wouldn't be a Star Citizen without bugs and problems. And I'm still looking. I'm both looking forward to and not looking forward to Squadron 42 or Star Citizen 1.0 and Squadron 42 1.0 because I don't know what if I'm gonna like what CIG makes without the quirky, interesting bugs. But we'll see. I think I will. But that is actually a legitimate concern of mine. It's like, what if I don't have to step backwards, throw salt over my shoulder, and clap twice in order to get to an elevator and leave? Like
Yeah.
what if the elevators just work? I don't know if I
If
don't
all
want to
the
be that old
bugs,
guy being like, yeah. I don't, do you want to be, the guys be like, hey, kid, yeah, you're enjoying this game. I played this game when you step on the wrong step and it killed the entire server. You know?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Grandpa. Thank you.
Let's get you back to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, where do you direct all your anger if all the bugs are working? Suddenly you have to think about how you're actually bad at the game. That's not easy. Not easy. I struggle with that.
But yeah, in terms of 4.7, I played the game more often than I usually do, simply because of I gotta go get this blueprint, and then that means I gotta go play the game. I gotta go do this mission. And
okay, so you've been drawn into blueprint hunting, basically. Is that exclusive? Is that like all you're doing now?
No, I also hang out with other people, but because I'm already in the game doing blueprint hunting, if someone's like, we're gonna go do, Shattered Blade Run, okay, I'll go there because I also get blueprints from that, but also have fun. I'll go do Rockbreaker, go do. I haven't done Hathor, but like I haven't done a lot of the stuff where I'm like, I'd like to go back to those. But I've also been doing missions I've never done before, or missions that I haven't done in a long time because, getting back into blueprint hunting and figuring out what works and what doesn't work.
So really, you don't mind the gameplay so much. You're getting back into it because you're getting something consistently out of it again. That's not money.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's. I feel like I'm getting progression. I feel like I'm moving towards a goal, and that's been one of the hardest things to have when you have it's like $1.5 billion or a billion credits.
Yeah.
In game, and it's like I didn't even do any glitches. I think it was just bugs that got me that money. It just one day I showed up and it was like, oh, it's all this money. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't remember earning this much.
Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
Well, the first time I saw something weird happen was we did the kill the Polaris mission with the annoying Frontier Fighters leader who kept calling you every time.
Yeah. Amelia
Boyd. And I think what happened was there was like the entire server was trying to kill Amelia Boyd, but instead of the mission payouts paying out to everyone equally, it just paid all of it to me.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So I ended up with like the full servers, and that happened like 3 times. So I was like, all right. So that's one of the problems. I've had too much money. And so now that I actually have something to do other than just earn money, it's interesting.
Do you think that's going to wear off for you? I mean, we're going to talk a little bit here shortly about 4.8. They're adding in new stuff to craft, but how long, if that wasn't coming, how long do you think this would actually be an interesting reason to jump into the game for you before it starts to just kind of lose its novelty?
Blueprint hunting and stuff like that? Probably another couple weeks. I think it's about a month. And the glorious thing is that if they continue doing it, they can stretch that out into as long as they need to.
Right.
Even at this early stage.
It's exponential.
Yeah. And it's good for people like you and me, but I think it's even better for new people coming in because we're getting to the stage where the amount of stuff you can do in Star Citizen is almost overwhelming to a new player. Because it's like, oh, well, you could go mine or salvage or do FPS missions or do combat missions or go do bounty hunting or you can do crafting or you can do these dungeons. How many dungeons? Well, there's 4 right now, and each of them takes 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes they're repeatable, and sometimes you can do these other ones which aren't fully dungeons like Hathor, and you get more resources, which you need to do anyways because you want to do crafting. And you also got to go mining to be able to do crafting. Oh, and by the way, you have to do refining in order to do those crafting as well. It becomes like 70, 80 hours of gameplay out of just what CIG has managed to cobble together over the last 3 years with 4.0 since they took a bunch of stuff away. Like we'd have even more if they had things like Ghost Hollow and what else? Like racing missions and those sorts of things. So
Yeah, but
I
one of the things that I feel like really hurts, and this is something that I think Rich Tyrer maybe acknowledged at some point, or no, Benoit, I think said this, was that they've got a lot of gameplay it's all islands. And it's getting better because the crafting's starting to connect them all together. But there's still that idea of like, if you are a new player coming to this game, and there is enough to get into, and if you wanted to make this, you have to go learn crafting and all that stuff. But like, if you're a new player, you also kind of want to be like, well, what if I don't want to do those things? And then you're like, well, don't worry. Another player can take care of that for you. All you have to do is, and you have to print out a page for them about where they have the link they have to go to, and then the website they got to follow, and the Discord server they got to get on. And it's like, there's this really painful gap that still exists for a new player where the game just doesn't tell you anything besides those basic tooltips that pop up, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to be able to get past that this year?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I am of, and I don't even, do you even introduce me saying the Astro Historian? I think you did, but
he's the Astro Historian, guys.
Here like once a month for the last 2 years. You know who I am. What was I going to say? Because I am the Astro Historian, I love my story and lore. And I've been saying for a long time that CIG is the biggest problem they have is that the glue to stick all these different islands together is gameplay, but it's also story. It's also having the ability to go talk to somebody who is connected to somebody else and then have that conversation happening. That CIG talked about many, many years ago. So yeah, I don't think they will. But I do think that it'll still attract a certain type of people, the type of people who enjoy the experience of here's the keys, kid, and throws it at your face, and they go have fun. People love those sorts of games because they love the idea of the game isn't holding back their hand, right? It's just, hey, you have to learn the game as it is.
Yeah, and we're still
it's becoming more intuitive. CIG is doing more intuitive, like the inventory screen is better. Things are making more sense for your typical gamer.
Yeah. Yeah, and as always, as Squadron 42 supposedly releases, all this stuff will become faster added to the game. Well, I do believe that, and it's nice to see it kind of starting to happen. It can't happen soon enough. It's hard to see how much progress. It's a legitimate predicament because you want to acknowledge how much progress is being made. The game is genuinely getting better, let's say per quarter, than it ever has before. It feels like they've passed a milestone where they can now start focusing more on gameplay stuff. But at the same time, you got this stuff that's all hanging around, making it janky, and it's hard to lay praise to something and then go into the game, and half the stuff you do is broken.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I put the caveat of like, there's bugs. I'm enjoying myself, but there's bugs. It's one of those things where I have seen a weird phenomena where in the last month or so, I have seen 4 or 5 different new videos from YouTubers who were fairly popular to newer YouTubers who said, I tried Star Citizen, so you don't have to, or I tried Star Citizen after 12 years. Here's what you need to know. And all these sorts of people. And it's weird to see that pop up so consistently when I really hadn't seen something like that before. Unless there was like a big YouTuber who did something, and then you had all these different other people like, I'm going to go try it out because a big YouTuber did it. It felt like it just out of nowhere. It wasn't a free flight. It just started happening, which is one of the reasons why my next video, which is coming out hopefully in the next couple of days, is a revamp of my old, brief intro to Star Citizen lore. This kind of covers everything you need to know about Star Citizen.
Dude.
Little plug. Yeah. It's a 20.
I have the best time when you release a new lore video, dude. It doesn't happen. I was on the channel yesterday, like constantly refreshing because it says last video, I think 3 months ago.
Yeah, 3 months ago. Yeah, it was supposed to be in March, and then I got sidetracked. The other stuff, but the family stuff. But but I'm finally going to be doing a bunch of things too, which is nice. But that is a weird experience to see that, because it seems like a effectively what's happening right now is natural growth. And if you look at the current growth, if you go to the chart, the CCU game chart that tracks both funding and new citizens is insane. They have blown past this last 4 months have blown past previous records. It is the growth I could not believe when I first saw it. I was like, there's no way. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Wait, let me pull that up. That's more than, because we looked at the funding, I think, last week of the same chart, and it's like it's ahead, but it's ahead.
It's ahead of the like record breaking. But then even then, if you look at
that's holy
insane,
crap, dude.
Insane. And remember, it's probably going to go up even further when Squadron is released. So just because,
we're already at new player numbers consistent with where June would be in a good year.
Yes, in the best year they had, which is 2022.
Oh no, actually, I guess 2022 we'd be where May is right now.
Yeah.
Still, that is genuinely impressive, because I think a lot of people probably remember 2022. If you say the specific thing that happened that year, that was the year that we saw people like Jack Frag start making videos, Level Cap started getting more into it, Summit 1G started streaming it a little bit. Mm-hmm. That was a really, really big year, big May for them. So I'd be interested in seeing what they have planned for this year, because we know they're probably going to announce Invictus Week Squadron 42.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. So, but my point being with all of this is that something is happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what tricked the algorithm. Maybe CIG has discovered the secret to advertising properly, and I just didn't know about it. But something is happening, and it's getting a lot of new people in. And I think, it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, crafting. It's like this has been going on since before crafting was released, and it's now just accelerating because of crafting. So
that's interesting.
How I'm feeling about 4.7 is that it's really good because it's encouraged me to play more despite the bugs. And it seems to have also accelerated the like back end of like people coming back and playing the game after a long time of leaving, or after a year or so. I've seen a couple people like, hey, I haven't played in a year. It's like, well, there's been a lot added since 2024. So yeah.
That's pretty wild to see, man. Well, good for them. Obviously, people are going to say, well, they have promotions where people make extra accounts. That is always accounted for. My camera's gone, but we'll just roll with it. That's always accounted for. People are always making extra accounts for this game throughout the year. So I don't necessarily take that as a reason to discount what growth we do see there. But let's talk more about 4.8 and what's coming. Because as you mentioned there, crafting was kind of the big thing that has gotten people excited in 4.7, and it seems like it could be a big catalyst for more people joining. But it had some additions that people found a little disappointing. The material quality spread, kind of the amount of things that we could craft. What do you think of the new changes to crafting that they have coming in 4.8?
Yes. It's great. More, please. More. Wait, I love the fact that they're just doing more and more, like adding more and more content for crafting, because it's one of those things that's going to get more and more people engaged. Like right now, it's only FPS folks, which is still a large chunk of Star Citizen, and people who are like, I just want to try to make these things. But the second that weapons and equipment is craftable, the like hardcore combat pilots, oh lordy, they're going to figure out how to do mining tomorrow. Like they're gonna be like, all right, well now I got to learn how to mine and refine. So now it's time to do this properly. So,
how do you feel about the way that they've explained basically that we won't be able to change the quality of materials?
I don't like it, but I also understand why. I also understand their approach. We're coming into the time. This is going to sound weird that I'm happy about this, but I'm happy we're finally coming into a point in Star Citizen's development where CIG has to make decisions that are going to alienate people. They're going to make gameplay decisions that they have to stand on ceremony for, like the stand on principle for, I should say. Because they have to stand on principle. It has to be like they have to choose what they're making, and they have to do it in a way that makes it work for them, with, of course, feedback to get from us to maybe fix some things here and there. But this is how we're going to do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we might change it, but we're going to do it like this way. And I like it, even though I don't tend to like the like, we can't take the small amounts, like really low counts, and upgrade it. Lots of other things I don't like. I don't like the idea of salvage being sort of just its own element rather than being broken down into the elements that make up the ships and other things like that.
They said that's going to be the case for when you're like crunching up the hull.
Later, yeah.
Oh, you just mean right now?
But like, yeah. Because they're like, oh yeah, but we're also going to make it so some specific things are only crafted with RMC. And like, but that's not going to be a permanent thing.
Oh yeah, the RMC part, yeah.
You know, so I don't like the direction they're going with that, but it's not one of those things where I'm like, I'm never going to play it. It's more of a, yeah, I get it. I think it's going to cause some problems, but I don't think it's going to be too weird. The biggest issue right now is the fact. So the biggest issue they have right now is they are like, oh yeah, mining is not boring. You clearly haven't played mining because scanning sucks, and like the new scanning isn't coming in 4.8 as far as we know, and it's definitely leaving a hole in the gameplay. Like, we need scanning so we can make it more efficient to mine, and they don't have it in. So it's like,
hey, Paul, what was the big feature that you thought maybe they would focus on when they dropped Nyx into the game?
It's in scanning for sure, because Nyx, and they decided that no scanning.
No,
like,
of course not. I need help understanding what's like what. Why do you think there is this weird issue with just scanning? Like, both FPS and ship scanning seems like it's been getting work done for years.
I think it's because they've been playing with the Squadron, and it's only recently been moved from Squadron to Star Citizen. And when they did that, they were like, "Oh wait, this has got to be optimized for what we're doing in Star Citizen with server meshing and such." And like, it just isn't optimized, so it probably doesn't work properly across boundaries, or has other weird things doing it. So they're gonna have to modify it here and there. And whoever worked on it in Squadron isn't always the same person who's working on it in Star Citizen. So maybe they handed over to people in Star Citizen to work on it, and those people in Star Citizen were like, this is nothing like the architecture we were planning on doing. I don't know the specifics on that one. That's just a guess, but I'm pretty sure it's just the architecture differences between Squadron and Star Citizen is too great for the gameplay itself.
Do you think if we were back in like the 2018, 2019 era of development, they would tell us if they were having a problem with that?
No.
Sad.
They wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't say anything until they had a solution to it. Now, that being said, they have heavily implied that they're going to be working on it for 4.8. We still don't know. They could announce it next week.
Come on, man. Don't rug pull people. They're not going to talk anything about scanning in 4.8.
Listen, I was the one who said they were not going to do crafting and blueprints in 4.7. I was like, it's not in the roadmap. I'm going to be conservative as heck on this one. I'm going to be like, I'm a glass half empty, a little bit of a salty historian here. Be like, no, you do not get fun things, because fun things don't happen to us, because this is Star Citizen. All right. Fun is not allowed. 30K, you're fun. And then they did it. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm wrong. So I'm still going to have faith until next week when they kill my faith. But the progress tracker has basically kind of been their roadmap for when they want to planning on releasing things. And so far, their progress tracker has been dead on what they've been doing. So end of March was inventory and crafting, and end of May is supposed to have tactical flight or tactical ops, the fuel repair, and scanning. Those are the 3 that they were planning on having.
Bro.
And they did physicalize a bunch of radars in 4.7.
Bro, don't toy with me like this.
Also in 4.7, they're planning on adding the flight suits having actual values or 4.8, I should say, for values for benefits for you flying with them. With G-forces.
Just like basically the beginning of Starware, right?
Yeah. And what's the other one that would make sense for that sort of thing? A helmet that can do FPS pings. So,
which we've already been seeing kind of over the last year, like little sneaks when people see this stuff pop up in the PTU and the Evocati. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what they've been building in anticipation of this stuff. But that's why I'm always asking, like, all this stuff that they're doing, getting ready for it, where the heck is it though? They're not even talking about it on monthly reports.
Yeah, they're barely talking monthly reports. They're not bringing people out to talk about it in systems. They're sort of avoiding it. And it's like, that's not usually how CIG does things. CIG usually can't shut up about something if they're done.
Yeah.
But it does feel like they're actually done, but they're, for whatever reason, they're not talking about it. Like they'll make an update here and there. And then it's like, there's clearly, there's a hole, and you read the shape of the hole to figure out where that hole's going. And that in this case, you read the shape of the hole and you're like, that what that hole is scanning. Like that's what we're missing. It's the big hole in Star Citizen.
So that actually is not a bad theory. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just the idea that scanning might be coming in 4.8.
I think if it doesn't make it in the 4.8, it will make it in 4.9 in July, because I feel like scanning is like crafting, and it's like crafting, and that it's probably like, do we or don't we? Because crafting just sort of showed up too. They kind of just like, by the way, crafting's in now. So
the thing I kind of understand scanning being something that they would hold back on is how many things it has to tie into, which is kind of actually like crafting, like you're saying. Basically, when they brought in crafting, they had to make sure everything had like a value, right? That could make you know what it crafts to, the material values and all that. When they bring in scanning, everything has to have some kind of like a detection signature, right? You have to be able to ping, and it identifies another person, a doorway, a box, a harvestable, a cave. All those things kind of have to like be linked into the system. And it does feel like that's what they've been doing here over the last like 3 or 4 months, 5 months.
And they have to differentiate between having a scanner for rocks versus a scanner for ships. So, things will pop up more specifically with those scanners. And that's feels like what they've been kind of trying to do with the physicalizing the radars in ships.
Right.
So,
and then there's the one real shot from left field, the loading screens that we continue to be wrong about. The one that we thought was maybe data running and then decided it was social tools, and now again it seems like it might be data running. Could be related to some. I mean,
I think it's still social tools. I think it's just social tools. I think it's social tools, but it's social tools going to be in like July or September.
Update. So you think they're just teasing social tools on our loading screens for 6 months straight?
That's what they did with the regen crisis. The regen crisis was first announced in February of last year, and it didn't actually start to hit until July of last year.
That doesn't feel as bad. That doesn't feel as bad as October to July. It's been so long, and like the level of hype to take up the main screen on the loading screen for this thing, it feels kind of weird now that there's not been anything big about it. I don't know.
It does feel weird. But then again, it's a lot of it is also who gets to talk and what times they get to talk. And it feels like possibly the lore team, because they usually are, they were well ahead. So they already kind of have the justification in universe, the story around the tools for social tools. But the team, it's clear that the team that was doing social tools was probably delayed from releasing, or they weren't the priority. And then we started screaming at CIG at the end of last year that, because it wasn't just like me or you. It felt like the entire community and every content creator was like, hey, CIG, make social tools. It is the most important thing you can do this year. You need to make social tools. And they may have just been like, okay, we really need to prioritize that now. So
I don't know, man, but it definitely has been a pain. Definitely a freaking pain. Let's go
Yes.
back to what we were talking about with crafting in 4.8 real quick. I want to finish up that conversation before we moved on. They
Yes.
mentioned with crafting, they're bringing in ship components for 4.8 now. So power plants, coolers, ship weapons, shields. They didn't mention quantum drives, which I thought was weird, but also
They
salvaging.
they did they did mention quantum drives
Did they?
later. Yeah,
Okay.
they accidentally slipped in quantum drives
Okay.
later. So I
Cool.
think it's quantum and drives probably the same.
Cool.
So
Yeah, that's a big one. I was really disappointed if that was going to be missing. But also, most importantly and interesting to me is the components for mining, for salvage, for tractor beams. Like getting the ability to change industrial gameplay through crafting is going to be a big boon, I think, for the gameplay too. What do you think is going to be kind of the meta things for people to go after the blueprints for and try to get the best materials for?
definitely be the mining, because the mining is one of those building blocks. Everything is going to come back to mining. Getting the resources to make the stuff you need to make requires the best materials. So if you get the right mining industrial components, you can then turn that around and then use those industrial components to get better mining and to get probably more output or better quality or whatever, and that will then build upon itself. So it's basically like it's in a survival crafting game, you need to like upgrade your tools because your tools give you faster harvesting and they break less. That's kind of the equivalent. So
And how about from ship components?
guns. Guns will probably
Ship
be
weapons,
the
yeah.
first one. I don't think ship weapons will actually be as much meta. I think they will, but because I think a lot of people are going to find the chokehold to be power plants. So
Hmm.
I think what people will meta rush the guns because they'll try to get their best build the best guns, and then they'll go, oh, I need to get power plants too, and then they'll realize they need to get like all of the other supporting things. So power plants, then shields, then coolers, and then like quantum drives are so far down that list, like it's not even important. For
I
me
like
it
fast
is.
quantum drums. Yeah.
I do. Yeah, for me it is, because I'm, a smuggler is the kind of gameplay I want. So that's the kind of thing I want to see, is like, can I get a stealth efficient quantum drive? If I can do that, I'm golden. But for your average combat player, industrial player, it's like as long as they get to the location, they don't really care that much, other than
Yeah.
maybe that it's efficient. So
Now, the interesting thing I find with the way that they're doing crafting is that we've been so used to the way that components adjust, say, your mining power laser and stuff like that. And even now with
mm,
crafting, we're getting very used to getting a high grade material and being able to put out a gun with really, really good increased stats. But forgetting that that ceiling's going to rise. We're going to get higher tier items. We're going to get um, more items that you can even make. And the components that they make that affect things like mining lasers, they're going to kind of strip away some of those benefits and put them into the crafting benefits we get, right? So the
yeah,
stock stuff won't be as good. And it's best for players to not expect that our crafted stuff's going to be better than what we already have in game. They're just going to recalibrate everything, right?
I think so. But I imagine that Sage is going to want to give you a reason to build those things, and especially the modules that are, I think, they can break right now. The ones that are like mining head modules.
Mm-hmm.
If you can take those and just make it a better version of that current module, then there's no reason not to have it. But you will also will always have to constantly craft new ones as they break. So you it'll be one of those where there will be a meta, but because of the nature of rocks, you just need different. From my experience in mining, and I'm not a much of a miner, is that you typically have like very hard rocks to crack, very unstable rocks to crack, or some combination of the two.
Yeah.
And for the two extremes, you need two different types of attachments to deal with those, to increase the stable band, or to increase like to reduce the durability or the resistance.
Yeah.
Um, and if you can have something that can do both, or have something that can do one much better, then that will be always a meta purchase or meta craft, I think.
Yeah. So I guess basically the components they have right now, they don't necessarily have to crunch the skill window so that crafting doesn't get too out of bounds, they could just change some of the other stats on components. Like if you get in a component that focuses in stability, up crafting it could give you a little boost in resistance as well.
Yeah, something like that. It'll still end up becoming important. I think once you get those crafting, then you stop going to the shop to buying them. But then it increases your cost because it's going to require specific materials to be able to work.
Yeah, man.
And those specific materials you're going to have to go mine. So you're going to always have to have a mine and refine that materials in the background so that you can constantly replace the ones you have. Otherwise, you're going to have to go buy a new one.
Which is just not feasible for a solo player.
No.
We need to get a player market. Like we need to get some ability for people to put a request out, because this is going to get the people who don't have groups, don't have orgs, don't have friends that can help get good materials or show them good blueprints. I don't mean to sound alarmist, but you're going to start to fall behind.
Oh yeah.
Because you can do everything yourself, but the fact of the matter is just that, like, man hours wise, this is going to take time to get the materials you need for the stuff you want. And there's not a great way in game right now, of course, to say, I want this level of weapon. Can somebody make that for me? Or to even say, I want this level of materials because I have this level of blueprint weapon. It's tough. It's tough. It's sad. Help us, Chris. You're there. We're right there.
Chris, help us, please. Come on. Tell us your wisdom. There's another problem though, which is because like money is useless. So what do you exchange for resources? Like if you have a really good gun and why would you put it on the market? What would you get in return? I think most people would be like, I'd want this other resource so I could continue to produce it. So people would still end up needing trading that resource.
Right.
Yeah. It would be a barter system rather than a currency system.
Sure.
Until there's some sort of currency that people can agree on that players would use more regularly that has nothing to do with UEC, or UEC actually gets pulled, which we now know CIG is definitely working on that because they completely killed UEC buying quietly.
Wait a second.
Did you not hear that?
Hold on. It sounds like you're advocating for something like, I don't know, like a script or something, an alternative currency of some sort.
I'm here actually to announce the Astro coin. So I'm changing my name from the Astro Historian to the Astro AI. And just by saying that, I will start taking offers at $50 million for my just for me calling myself the Astro AI.
He makes lovely videos, but decided that the market for grass fertilizer was where it was at. Yay, relevant jokes.
No one's gonna get this joke in 4 months, but Banu bucks of some kind, some sort of script. Yes, that's something we need. Definitely, we need something like that.
Go back to what you were saying about UEC buying. What was that?
Oh, they got rid of UEC buying. You can't buy UEC on the site anymore. They never really promoted it that much, but like it's completely gone now.
Are you serious? I actually didn't think they were going to do that.
Gone. I think it was around the same time when they did the Squadron 42 buyback thing, and because of that drama, I think this completely flew under the radar. But yeah, you can't buy UEC anymore.
To be honest, this one are people going to be mad that you can't buy UEC? I feel like
no. Yeah. Most people didn't even know you could. So like a lot of you who are watching now are like, you could buy UEC? Yeah. It's like, yeah, it wasn't at a UEC, it was just UEC, but it was for the final game. It was way overpriced. But it was the attempt was to undercut gold sellers in the future because they knew that was going to happen anyways. And so it's clear that it. Why do you think they get rid of it? I think they're trying to they're finally going, okay, well, what does 1.0 look like? What does our economy look like in 1.0? How do we make money in 1.0? So I think that's it.
Get ready, boys.
And that means that they're having to they're going to have to start thinking about things like player trading and how that affects the economy and that sort of thing. So
You can tell that they're buttoning up the hatches for things to get a lot more scrutiny. It started last year. You could literally see it happening last year with the way that they were starting to change their marketing, and especially with the vow to stop doing concept sales.
Yep, and then they change over to monthly patch bundles from patch bundles to now just monthly bundles.
Yep.
They're experimenting. They're trying to find ways of making money that doesn't involve them releasing a ship every month. So or selling game packages, because that'll eventually stop, sort of, or selling ships at least.
I would not be surprised to see them start experimenting a little bit more with the optional subscription this year. Offering some kind of additional perk there, or I don't know what they've been offering to people monthly on that, but probably making sure that those monthly offerings are looking a little bit better over time. And yeah, what do you think of like time decreases on stuff in game if you're paying an optional sub? Do you think they're going to try that?
I'm entirely okay with them doing something like if you have a sub, you have a warranty. So you have an additional warranty otherwise that you can use on any ship.
Well, yeah.
And then second, like when you buy a ship, you get a warranty that you can use. It's non-transferable, but this case would be like a transferable warranty. So you can just like, oh yeah, you have a sub, slap this onto the ship.
That's not bad. And then you stop paying for the sub and you lose the warranty.
You lose the warranty.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Because you can earn warranties in game, so it's not the end of the world. You can always do it on your own. I don't think it changes the balance that much. By saying that, by the way, there is going to be somebody in the chat, or to say someone in the comment section, and I please do comment down below how much you think that's a bad idea. I want to hear it. Keenan wants to hear it. We both want to hear your Paul and Keenan want to hear your thoughts.
He's engagement baiting you. Don't fall for it.
I am not engagement baiting you. I am not rage baiting you. All right. I am not saying that you're wrong. I'm just heavily implying you're wrong, and I'm trying to get you to engage in conversation. Completely normal conversation. Completely
normal. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they can handle that. But I don't even know how we got onto this topic, to be honest.
Because we got a UEC. They're getting rid of UEC.
Yeah, right. With the crafting and all that stuff. Let's get back to that. Lower grade materials. Okay, there's a lot of questions around how the heck this is going to work. Right now, when you get something by default, when you like dismantle something from out in the world, it gives you 500 grade materials. And generally that's what they consider neutral. So obviously anything you find below 500, most people are like, why would I ever use this? Do you think they're going to come up with a good reason to keep those besides just mixing them in with higher quality things to average it out?
Yeah, I can see them doing something to the effect of like building doing something to the effect of like building using for building materials for like building bases, or some other like chuck it in the like the random bucket where you're gonna need this, but you're gonna need it for something else. But I still have a problem with the whole system because it feels off, because there's still no incentive to keep it, and as a result, I don't know. It feels like they're not moving in the right direction, and it's going to bite them when it comes to how people will react. Because this has always been a weakness of CIG, which is I don't think they really understand player psychology. So they just sort of do whatever they think is cool, and then when the player psychology comes up and goes, "Hey, this is entirely exploitable, and we're exploiting it," they kind of go, huh, what do we do? And then they continue to dance around the solution that everyone's like, this is the solution. See, like weapons and weapon tuning or flight. They constantly dance around the solutions that people give them. And then I feel like they're eventually just going to give into those solutions. It's like, because they work, guys. Yeah. Trust the brain trust, the brain trust isn't always wrong when it comes to these things. But
so what should they be doing right now?
I mean, honestly, they should change this system. The system that's 1,000 points doesn't make a lot of sense. I get it; they're trying to use it for more levers, but what they should be doing is having a variety of different options for producing. So you have right now, there's like usually like 2 or 3 different things you need to make. What you should always have is one very rare item that requires a high quality, which will determine the highest quality output. It will determine the quality. And then other things which are just garbage stats. They're just dump stats, things you would dump stuff into. So it's like, doesn't matter the quality, you just put it in there because you need to throw it in there. Any quality will do. So you still have people saying, I need to go out and get my high quality X material for my gun or my ship or whatever. But I also need a lot of this lower quality stuff, or a lot of something, which is I can get easily with lower quality for this. So it would allow for people to actually engage with those lower quality, because you still need to have a volume of lower quality things of one specific type in order to produce something. And then that will determine the changes. Kind of, they talked about how, like, you could use copper, you could use another metal for that gun, and that would change, whether it fires faster or it fires more accurately. They still gives them a lot of levers while giving an incentive for someone to go out and get 500 iron, even though it's low quality, because it's like, I need something to be able to build my ship, and I need that 500 iron. Iron is an easy one to get. I can just dump that into the ship, and that will give me my stat towards my ship being faster, rather than using copper, which will then make my ship, more resistant to lasers or whatever.
That's kind of what they described for the refining system, though, no?
They did. But I feel like that system can also be applied to the just main system itself, the main crafting system itself. This is more of a wish casting than it is the actual thing they'll do. It's just more of a suggestion of what they should do in terms of being able to engage these lower quality items, because then there's no reason to not keep everything. So you have people, it becomes a sorting issue rather than do I bother scanning 17 asteroids to get the one I actually want?
I do wonder if that's what they're trying to lean into, and maybe without changing the whole system, they're just going to emphasize refining a little bit more to build on that idea of just crafting with additional materials. Because one of my questions for the Star Citizen Live was, are we going to be crafting or finding parts that go into recipes? And it doesn't seem like they really want that to happen, but at least if they can do like material combinations, that can still be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and on top of that, they can also, we also have no idea what player refining is going to be like. Player refining might be another component in there as well. So
let's talk about, actually how you categorize all this stuff. The inventory, they said, is getting some updates coming up soon. The 4.8 inventory update's pretty nice with bigger icons, but they also mentioned things like resizing and rescaling stuff. And we know that we're going to get the ability to like combine materials into boxes so we can average them out, things like that. Anything that really excited you about the inventory updates they said are upcoming, or do you think they're not going far enough?
Not particularly. I do like the averaging out, being able to get a bunch of stuff and average them out, because right now the problem is that you have so much of just random quality gear, random quality materials that you can't use, because you have like 17 CSCU of that one item you need.
Yeah,
but it's like 300, 400, 600, 700 because of how their system currently works. Being able to average those out and just getting it into a single stat would make it a lot more user friendly. So it lowers the fiddliness of the mechanic right now.
yeah.
I do like the scaling, but I don't want to insult space dads, because I myself have glasses, and you being a father soon. I don't want to insult you. Insult your new people. Have they welcomed you into the ranks of space dad yet?
as an upcoming space dad, I can already say that it's not just the dads that can't see anything. So accessibility features help all.
They do.
I love the scalable icons.
I do too. I think it's a good idea, but at the same time, it's like, it's not something I'm gonna jump out of my seat for. It's like, yeah, it's nice. But,
yeah. It's been a little while now with this new inventory. I think a lot of people would probably say it's the same inventory with a new coat of skin. How are you feeling about it now with a little bit of hindsight?
I like it. I still like it. I think it's a good it's an evolution, not a revolution. I said that when we talked about this last time. I think we did talk about this on your show before it came out. So I like that. I do like the evolution, not revolution. And we both said at the same time, like the backend problems are still there. It's still going to all the problems you had before are still there. This isn't a new inventory system. And people found out, no, this is not a new inventory system. This is just a skin over the new inventory system or the old inventory system. And I think it's still good. I think it still could use some things, like the fact they took away stacking and they have to bring that back. There's still some problems with it, but
we got no updates on that since it didn't make it in by the end of the week when they announced it.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, maybe it's in 4.8. I don't know. That would have been a nice time to get that update on stacking at this last Star Citizen Live. But what was I gonna say? But in general, I think it's got good bones. It's a good skeleton to hang future updates on because it's more intuitive. So
feels kind of like the same sort of answer you'd give before 4.0, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
Does it feel like we're kind of back to the same old CIG now that we're past the whole don't add features that break things? Are we back to that add features that could potentially break things, but keep like just moving as fast as possible, get something in there, get it working, iterate on it later? Feel like it's back to the same exact thing?
Not exact thing. I think it's a similar thing. But I think I dubbed this year the Yeet Citizen year. Because it's just like they're just gonna throw features out. They're just gonna send it, and then you're just gonna. It's like, it's broken, but at least it's out. Yeet, it's just yeet, yeeting it out there. Like the crafting is a great example. Was crafting ready for everybody? Absolutely not. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it missing key features? Absolutely, it is. But we're going to throw it out there because we want to test the blueprint system and the crafting system.
Tier 0, baby.
And I think it's better for it. I think the game is better for having it out there. But then again, I think you and I are both of the same ilk in the sense of the just get it out there and fix it later, because a lot of systems are lingering in the dustbin of history because they never continued to add features so that they could finally go back and be like, oh, how do these two features connect?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that because Squadron is almost assuredly coming out this year because of the stuff we're going to talk about later. Isn't that right, Chris? Can you announce it on this podcast? Can you say the exact date? Come on, Chris. Do it, Chris. Come on. That's right.
He's like, tell me something. Tell me a sweet nothing.
But because of that, I think CIG is trying to get as many features as they have cooking out the door before Squadron. That is my vain hope, because 4.8 is stacked with features. It is stacked with new things that just sort of are coming out. Refuel, repair, rearm from ships. New 4.8 like new crafting stuff, refueling missions. Gosh, what I'm trying to think of, obviously new gameplay with like the tactical fleet ops, but it's crazy how many things are coming out with 4.8 that are features and content. So
yeah, and that's the big difference between this year, and that's what it feels like is now they have combined that 3.x style of just throwing features out there with their relatively more polished style of 4.0 and through 4.4 development. But
don't get me wrong, stuff is still obviously broken.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
CIG definitely needs a team that sweeps up the pieces after, because we know crafting works with 4.7. In 4.8, how many blueprints are going to break? How many missions are going to break with that specific crafting that no longer is going to work because they don't care about it anymore because they're working on these other missions that have to deal with crafting for components or weapons.
Yeah.
That aren't the iron. Like, we know that's going to happen because CIG just moves fast and breaks things. But as we get towards the 1.0 release, they need a team that's there that sweeps up the broken pieces and fixes the problems in the aftermath. The unsexy job of doing of being the janitor for everybody else's problems. You come in after the party has happened and clean up all the garbage and then have to reset up all the furniture that people broke.
Yeah. If you're doing your job, nobody notices it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's a shitty job for a creative endeavor like gaming. It's just not a fun thing to do.
Nobody likes fixing stuff. Gross.
But it's necessary.
It'd be like Bethesda, huh? Let the players fix it. Come on.
Oh, God.
That is an interesting, though. I think it's given players whiplash. It's easy to forget. Anybody who joined last year would not be used to that, and anybody who's joined in this big rush of players that you showed us this year so far would also not be really aware of that. This is going back to an older style of Star Citizen's development. So it's going to take some getting used to.
It's going to definitely, for even for us, it's going to get used to because it's not the same CIG that was doing this in 3.8 or 3.12.
Yeah, they're more competent.
They're more competent, and it's more of everything they're doing is in line with the overarching goal of 1.0 versus just let's get this new system out.
Yes. Yeah, that's the biggest thing you can notice is like bringing in factions and stuff. Let's talk about the big addition coming with 4.0. That is the strike groups. The biggest thing, 4.8, sorry. The biggest thing anybody who watches anything that I put out at this point is probably going to think I'm going to start with talking about this topic. It is the lack of social tools. How the heck is this going to work, dude, without people being able to just like link up and talk to each other to do it?
Poorly. It's going to work very poorly. Bad. It's not going to work well. Like, I hope you have a Discord because you're going to need a Discord if you want to do this. It sucks because it's basically like this is another Hathor where like you better have an org. If you don't have an org, this is not a release for you, which sucks because this is the kind of thing that people would love to do with like a looking for games sort of thing. So
it feels even more group oriented than Hathor because this is like a legit fleet battle. In Hathor, you can sneak in kind of. You can go to one of the 3 locations while the people are duking it out at the other ones, get some loot, have some fun, get out. But this just seems like it's a fleet battle around an asteroid base. How in the world is this going to be fun for anyone who can't set up a group to go do it before they get there? Because in other games, like in a game like Destiny, maybe this would be the sort of thing where you get there and it kind of semi-instances you, so it's a free-for-all and anybody can go to that location. But at this point, if you play alone, this is a weird one. Yeah.
It's going to feel a lot like the first version of the blockade missions that they did, where, you did get people who'd show up like in the middle of the blockade missions, but you wouldn't work together. You just all sort of mob in a direction. And it's going to suck because if you are, I've got my Aurora, I'm going to go fight the Vandul. There's no like way of contacting that Idris that's being run by an org to be like, can I land and refuel and refit my ship with you? Because again, I feel like that's the direction they want to go, but it's almost like this is going to be a half completed event. It's going to be an event that's missing several portions of that. It's going to make it fun, like instancing and social tools. Because if it had instancing and social tools, this would be one of the most exciting things that CIG has ever released, because you could have a situation where somebody who is literally a new player shows up in a looking for group, joins with another bunch of small orgs, and they run out of munitions, and they can just go, hey, Idris, do you have stuff? And they can go, hop in, we'll give you what we got. Yeah. And you have this experience of landing on a completely random carrier and having someone like refuel and refit you, and then you got the Maverick take off situation where you're flying out of this carrier that you've never seen before as a new player. And of course, that would be a video that gets 1 million views. That would be why am I blanking on his name? That's XLR. I'm trying to think of the DayZ videos that you and I like to watch. That are like
JLK.
Those JLK, JLK and Sour Sop and those Sour Soup and Running Man. Yeah. And those guys, like that would be one of those cinematic moments that people like die for in these sorts of games.
It would.
It's like, it's completely random. And it's clear that this is what Chris wants. But Chris,
come on, man. Right now, if I go to link up with an Idris to try and get refueled, they're going to think I'm attacking them and blow me up. You can't even let people know you're friendly.
Yeah.
I do think, though, the idea of it is a pretty cool. I mean, this is fleet battles. This is everything that I think has driven a lot of people in this game has been the idea that it is kind of like Eve, but in a more interesting format environment. And this is where it really starts. Fleet battles, PvE wise, is when you can like set up the coolest scenarios with your friends, get the coolest shots because you don't have to worry about the unpredictability of another person, do the coolest things in a game like this. But I feel like it's going to be hampered by that. How do you feel about the overall conflict, the way they've laid it out, the trench run, the capital ships you have to bring in? Does it seem convincing?
Do I think it's a good story?
Yeah. Does it look like it's going to be good fun? No.
It's gonna be great fun. It's not a good story, but it is a classic science fiction story.
Sure.
It is Star Wars to a T, but it's also, a little bit of Star Trek in there where you're going to have to do these multiple steps. It's a little bit of Battlestar Galactica, especially the remake of Battlestar Galactica. It's a little bit of Firefly. It's all problem solving on the fly is the idea. And I love it. I love the idea of multi-stage invincible turrets that you have to do specific things to stop them. And that's great. Does it make any sense in terms of the realism of the universe? No. But as I always like to say when people go, well, this game isn't realistic, I go, bird aliens and coral people. And the coral people fly crab ships, and everyone's flying at World War II speeds in space fighters. This was never going to be a super realistic game to begin with. As long as it matches with they're using Vanduul technology, and Vanduul technology is absolutely weird, and we can't make heads or tails of it because we have no idea where it comes from because a lot of it isn't made by the Vanduul themselves. That works. It's great. It's a great storytelling device. And in terms of pacing, that seems amazing because it's got every single type of combat person you need. You've got your fighter pilots, you got your bombers, you got your combat ships, you've got your capital ships, you got your FPS Marines. They're all going to have a place to something to do, and then the grand climax, of course, is going to be having to take on a tough Vanduul ship. And I'm sure CIG is going to make this ship very tough and be like, no, players are going to have a really hard time with it, and a player is going to figure out how to break into that ship and take it over in the first 5 minutes of it being released. We're going to make a joke of it. Yeah, we're gonna make a joke of it in the first releases of it, but they'll fix it eventually. So just like they did with the rated Apex Valkyr. So
I do think it's cool that it's going to have roles for everyone. Do you feel like that might be a little overwhelming? Like maybe CIG should have started out with introducing us to a dropship focused mission so that we figured out. I guess we've been doing carrier ops at this point. And dogfighting. This, I guess, it's kind of a natural progression of the combat in the game, huh?
Yeah, I feel like it's the right direction they're going for. So,
well, now we got to talk. Now we got to talk about the drama.
I'm sorry, Chris. Forgive me.
Sorry, Chris, but we gotta. Well, actually, hold on. We gotta. I do want to ask you about one other thing, and we can go either way. You tell me which one's more interesting: buybacks or Star Citizen main story.
Let's talk buybacks and then do main story because that way, we can get the salty and then end on a positive. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Buybacks are the newest drama. We were talking a little bit about this before the show. It's reminiscent of the May problem they always seem to spring on themselves, but happening in April. Tell us the lowdown.
Not in May.
Tell us the lowdown, man.
So the lowdown is that last Friday, a week from when this is being recorded, people began to notice that you can't do any buybacks of specific packages. And they managed to catch C-Daddy CIG, who's often in a lot of YouTube chats and Twitch chats a lot. He's pretty active in the community, whose job is literally these packages and setting a lot of these things up. That whole scenario that they were like, hey, this is not working. He didn't know about it. He apparently said, this is news to me. I'll have to look into it. And then as of, was it yesterday or was it Wednesday? I think it was yesterday. Tyler came out and basically said, no, it's intentional. We intentionally did that because we wanted to stop gray market sellers from getting access to cheap copies of Squadron 42. It was as simple as that. I mean, yes, he did say more than that. And it was like, we always said that this wasn't a bank. You can't hold it forever. This was always in the warnings and the legal disclaimers. You all knew this. This was never going to be a forever thing. This was intended as a stopgap that we've kind of maintained because it's been helpful for us and for you. But now we're starting to clamp down on it, is basically what it is. And a lot of folks are mad, not necessarily because they did it, but because they did it without warning. Especially after Tyler himself many years ago said that they were planning on always giving us a heads up on things like price changes. And people assumed that that would also include these sorts of buyback options and that kind of thing. And clearly people were assuming wrong. So a lot of people are mad because not necessarily that they did this, but they did this without warning, quickly, suddenly, and clearly as a direct way of preventing gray market sellers from buying cheap packages and then selling them on the gray market to undercut CIG's pre-order sales.
Yeah, doing it without a warning that wasn't good.
Yeah, and it's clearly, it's not only is it doing it without a warning, it's doing it without a warning with a profit motive. This is a clear, sorry, I'm just looking to make sure Chris isn't going to kill me. This is clear maximization of profit. This is done so CIG can make a profit. And as you know, since you've been doing such wonderful videos breaking down CIG's finances over the last couple, I've been watching all of them. So it was great videos.
It was a lot.
CIG runs they've run very lean. And if there's a year that they need to burst some cash out, I think this is the year for them to burst some cash out. And so they're going to start looking like a company. And last year, they definitely did. Last year.
It was, and it really, with that hindsight, you can see it. 2024, they have 5 million left. 2025, they stepped it up, and they're going to do the same this year.
Yeah, especially with both release of Squadron and with their already above pace release of Star Citizen. We could end a year with CIG earning $250,000.
Oh my God.
$250 million.
They'll make 250,000. No problem.
Yeah. 250 mil for the year with like 100 mil coming from Squadron. Like that could happen. I don't think that will happen, but like it is a possibility that CIG ends up with a profit of like hundreds of millions of dollars for the first time they've ever had. Because usually, as you know, they buy everything. It's funny because I've actually talked with a lot of CIG employees on the record and off the record about this, and they're all like, "Yeah, no, we burn everything. Like we don't end up with any money at the end of the year. We everything comes in, it goes out, and we are very careful about making sure we are as lean as possible with the money we get." So,
yep, whoever is the CFO, whoever's managing the money is they're on it. That's for sure. But yeah, this falls in line with quite a few of the other things they've been doing to shore up all of the loose ends kind of in Star Citizen and the Squadron in the inevitable release. So you said at the beginning of this stream or this podcast that this seemed like the sign that they're definitely
this is the sign. There is absolutely no way that CIG doesn't think they're releasing Squadron this year. Because that doesn't necessarily mean they won't delay it or something won't happen, because anything is possible. But they wouldn't pull a stunt like this without a belief that they're going to start selling Squadron again. And it has been my belief that CIG will use October as the release date of Squadron simply because it matches with the funding. So CIG loves a good anniversary, and that is, of course, CitizenCon, which is the beginning of the funding anniversary of the beginning of the game itself, the Kickstarter. And on top of that, it's also about a month before the proposed release of GTA, so that gives them a lot of time to get some word of mouth. And it gives them about 6 months from Invictus, which is good for it's somewhat of a marketing push if CIG is not stupid with it, and I don't believe that they won't be stupid with it. But um. So yeah, no,
How do you
I
feel about
believe
the
that
fact
this
that
is
they
sure.
did this though without any sort of warning?
I don't like it. I feel like it's a bad precedent to set, but I also understand why they did it. Like I don't think like the actual thing they did wasn't a bad thing. We all knew it was going to happen. It was just a
Yeah.
matter of warning us.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of ways they could have done it to mitigate the gray market, but it would have also mitigated the sting. Like, yeah, you can buy these back, but you can only buy them back for a week, and you can buy them back for credit because now you can't sell anything with a credit purchase. So it would give people the opportunity to buy it back if they wanted to. Because a lot of these people's accounts aren't Squadron; they're Star Citizen based. Like they
Right.
lost like a 325 or 350R with the racing suit because like the racing suit wasn't in the game. So why get the 350R with the racing suit when it's not in the game? I can use that to get something else I wanted. And then they may have thought of coming back and getting that 350R with that package later, but now they can't. So it's sort of a smack to the players who have been backing the game for the longest.
Right.
Not necessarily for the Squadron. It's effectively everyone who's playing the speculation game or was using credit to try to like shuffle ships around to try out stuff. They got caught in the crossfire of CIG trying to nuke the gray market.
So we also have a bunch of people playing this CCU game. People just in general using the relatively reasonable refund policy of ships where you just kind of not refund, but like trade in for store credit. A lot of people are doing that stuff. Should they be starting to think about maybe getting everything in order so that they don't fall victim to some kind of surprise like this? Or is this sort of a one-off because of Squadron 42?
So there was a post in the chat here that's actually a good one that I actually made myself. It's a fake quote from Warren Buffett that financial bros like to use to try to scare people because people will often say like, well, Warren Buffett says this and that to try to scare people. And so financial bros made this fake quote to put up anytime something's happening, which is freak the fuck out and panic, sell everything right now. It's fucking over. So when I saw that like almost 100%, I believe CIG will do this again. They will not tell you, and they will just kill off some buyback of limited ships, CCUs, and packages. Like at some point, they're just going to start just executing each one of these, just like they did here, without warning. So, in the spirit of that quote, I'm saying, freak the fuck out and panic buy everything right now. It's fucking over. The CCO game is dead. Like pull out, buy all of your ships back and your CCUs. It's over. The game is done, y'all. It's done.
It's
that
done.
That is not financial advice. It is a personal philosophy at this point that CIG is going to end this system sooner than you think, and it's going to happen when you don't expect it. So
Star Citizen is making its transition away from being a tech demo company that's running this environment where you could test things out while they build other stuff in the background to an actual professional company that's releasing products and like going to be under scrutiny. So they're getting things done.
100%. 100%. That is the reality. And that's it's a sad reality, especially since so many people do this. Like that's what a lot of people participate in the game with. But it's a necessary reality, and we all knew this day was going to come. It's just now a lot of people are still memeing like, oh, Star Citizen's coming out in 2035. And it's like, no, y'all. Now don't look at the financials, and you can believe right now that this game is coming out in 2027, 2028, whether you realize it or not, whether it's ready or not. CIG is probably going to push it because
oh god,
they're gonna. It's gonna come a lot sooner than people think, than people are memeing about, and I think people have been taking the meme too seriously, and they're like, I got years to worry about this.
I hope not, dude. It feels so far away. Like, in terms of them needing to get serious, yes, but in terms of getting to a 1.0 state, it still feels so far away. There's so much balance,
Mhm.
That's a whole nother podcast episode to get into.
We'll do that at some point.
We'll get there. So the buybacks overall, where would you rank this in terms of their normal Invictus week blunders, assuming they're not going to have anything else?
Lowest they've ever done. It really doesn't affect anybody. It affects a very small minority of the game. Now they're a very loud minority, but they're a minority as in terms of like the people who actually interact with the game. If you just bought the game package and you went away for 12 years and you've just been coming back, this does not affect you at all. If you went away last year and you came back, it doesn't affect you at all. And I guarantee you, everyone who had a Squadron 42 package in the buyback already had a Squadron 42. Anyone who's like intelligent or careful had a Squadron 42 package in their game package right now. They weren't just letting the Squadron 42 package rot in their buyback while they didn't have a Squadron 42 package.
Yeah,
if
especially
you did,
now.
Yeah, it's like if you did, like you kind of deserve to get this bitten. Like that, if you really weren't that careful after like seeing the hold the line and then seeing that prelude, you didn't pull that trigger. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
really?
They've taken it off the store too. Like they've been
for
doing
2 years.
things.
Yeah, like there's been signs that you should have pulled that trigger because that price wasn't changing. So
why do you think they took it off the store? Sorry.
Oh, why did? Oh, same reason why they killed the buybacks. Money.
I mean, because you think they want to raise the price eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So why 100%. Not raise the price back then? Just because it would look bad, so you just take it off the store and wait.
Yeah, there's been theories about it. It's had to be with legal things, with like German law. I don't think actually panned out. You'll probably hear some. We'll definitely hear some people in the comment section talk about it, but there's been a lot of different things. My guess was that CIG was planning on releasing Squadron sooner, and then something happened, because all of the sources that I have at CIG were indicating that February of 2026 or 2025 was the original goal, and something happened, and either like they hit a review gate that was just like, nah, this doesn't work, we need to fix this, and so they extended it. Because there was enough indications that like 2020, even the 2024 live CitizenCon was going to be the CitizenCon where they announced the release date of Squadron, and then they didn't. They did, but they didn't really, So, for my guess is that they took it off for the same reason they're getting the buybacks. They wanted to, on the lead up to a big announcement, they wanted to make sure that they could have a higher price. But if you did a sudden jump from $45 to $60, that would have been an indication that people would go, the game's coming out soon, which they clearly wasn't. So it's better to just take it off and then pull it back when you have more chance. It could have also been other things. Like I've heard rumors from inside sources about it being available on like Steam and Epic and Good Old Games and a bunch of different other locations as well. Which maybe there's part of the negotiations was they couldn't sell it on their own site for some time. That could be a possible issue. I don't know why they did it, the actual reason, but I think the inevitable reason is money.
Yeah,
I think the key reason is because they wanted to sell higher prices. Like it's going to be $60 at release. So
$60. Please stop there. Thank you.
Yes. No $79.99, Chris. Please, please, no. Don't do it.
You already got plenty of
benefits. In the benefits, though, I think that what CIG will do, and I'm hoping they'll do, this is sort of a hope, but I also can see that the logic is they'll sell a basic package for $60, and then everyone who backed the game before a certain point is going to be getting the equivalent of like a $90 special edition. So we'll be getting a bunch of stuff. We already do get a bunch of stuff, but we're probably going to get a bunch of stuff that the regular game package won't. Like, Squadron soundtrack and, PDF and art book or something.
Man, I can't wait for that.
That would be a major win for CIG that they wouldn't cost them a dime, because they're going to do that stuff anyway. So
the art book for this game, oh my god, it's going to be so good.
You give us a PDF with some concept art, and then you give us a soundtrack, like for back in the game for a long time. Yeah, 100% people will be like, okay, I feel good about my $40 purchase or $20 purchase. So.
The crazy thing about getting an art book for this game is going to be that the art in that book is like some of the best sci-fi artists there are. Because they were freelance and they were working on other things. Like we got people who worked on Alien, Dune, Star Wars, all coming together and making some
Star
really
Trek.
cool stuff. Yeah.
It's basically concept arts of every single person who's worked on ships for every single franchise you've ever heard of. and landscapes and settings and all this stuff. So
yeah, I was just thinking we haven't gotten any landing zone or like city-based concept art outside of Loreville for like a decade. There must be some pretty cool stuff for the new landing zones.
I hope.
So. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the main story.
All right.
Because this is starting to become a focus for them. First, it showed up in the monthly report. But also, I did a little bit of lore deep diving, so it's now on my mind. The whole Terra is Constantinople and Earth is Rome, which means Earth will probably be sacked, which means during Star Citizen, do you think that's going to be like in Star Citizen or maybe before Star Citizen? Do you think Earth will actually be damaged so it's easier to like produce or something?
I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think that they'll introduce Earth the same time they introduce the sack of Earth. So I think you will, because CIG, this is one of those like very early presentations that he did with him and Dave Haddock, and they were like, Earth will fall. Earth is Rome and Earth will fall.
Yeah.
Like it will be a thing where we know that Earth will be sacked by the Vandals, Vandul in this case, because Rome was sacked by the Vandals. But in this case, it's how bad is that going to be, and the players will decide. So I do think that the players will have some input in that whole event, but I do think that Earth will only come in during or after the sack of Earth. Yeah.
So Earth's pretty far away in the game, star system wise. Do you think they're gonna just like slowly build out towards Earth, and people should just expect that to be the path they choose for development?
Partially, I do think they're going to do some expansions that are logical. Like if you look at how the systems are connected, Hadrian is the logical first expansion after the first 5 systems because it has a jump point to Terra and it also has a jump point to Castra. So you can go from Castra to Hadrian, from Hadrian to Terra, and from Terra to Stanton. So you can completely bypass both Nyx and Pyro to get to locations. So it allows for people to avoid the dangerous systems, but you still have faster routes between Pyro and Nyx because Pyro and Nyx connect to all of these other systems, including, Castra and Stanton. And of course, Pyro is also connected to Terra.
So. But maybe CIG can do us a solid one and pick Magnus instead.
I mean, yes, as a certified Drake fan, I have this literally just hanging next to me.
There you go.
I would love to see Magnus. Yes, it's literally right next to me. Don't get me wrong. I think that's up there. I also think because it's connected to Nyx and Odin, I think Bremen is a good solid choice. But that's what I mean.
That would be interesting.
I think things like Bremen, Hadrian, Magnus, Tohill, and Virgil are all, and Odin. I don't know if I said Odin. All of these will be in the same sort of first expansion route, but none of those are towards Earth. Those are all just sort of expanding out what they already have, sort of an expansion, making the pond bigger. But once they've started to make the pond bigger and have these connections to each other a little bit easier, then I think they'll push towards Earth. I do think that the sack of Earth will be like a 2.0 update once they have like more systems in place.
Oh, okay.
Beyond the main story.
So you think it's going to be like the main story will be built over time? It's not going to launch with 1.0?
I think we will have the first part of the story with 1.0. I think that first part of the story will get us citizenship, but then they'll have a part 2 and a part 3. So it'll be an ongoing story that will lead to the fall of Earth and then the civil war between Earth and Terra, which they've already known. But there's lots of different milestones we know about, like the future of synth world, what I've been calling the third Tavaran war, where the Tavaran outside of the UE and the Tavaran inside the UE are deciding what the future of the Tavaran people are by who's going to control. You defend Khalif with the Tavaran that are trying to adapt to the human rule, or do you support the Tavaran who listen to the old ways and are trying to retake the world? All while, of course, humanity is completely shattered with its own problems that are dealing with the Vanduul inner conflict and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Plus the succession crisis, which is about to hit the Xi'an. And then that's not including other like mysteries, like what happened to the Hadesians? Why are the Banu so far? Why is there a Banu colony so far outside of Banu space? And lots of other little mysteries and things that are kind of dot throughout the game story.
Yeah.
But I do think that the 1.0 story is going to be mostly focused on introducing you to the conflict between Terra and Earth.
I do find myself wondering, because they say that story is going to take you through all the different types of gameplay, and I wonder how they're going to mix those in. If they're going to have missions, because one of the examples they used for Recco Battaglia as a mission giver was that she's going to have her own missions, but then the missions they're bringing in for her can also be used for other factions as a kind of like a standalone or like a stand-in. And I love that idea of all of the things being modular and linking up, but I do wonder how much of the main story is going to be some purpose-built, really hard-hitting, good narrative missions versus just like a contract that they put in there to make sure that you're getting all of the gameplay. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is that, and this is going to sound weird, I'm pretty sure that CIG is going to add cutscenes and siloed content that is specific for the mission givers. It was one of the things in the early leaks of CIG, like 2016 leaks that we were able to see, that I was able to see with the help of some other folks, as that spoiled me on the entire story of Squadron, but also was helped me understand what they were going to do with mission givers, is that they had all the dialogue for all the mission givers for various missions. And there was a clear progression of missions you were supposed to do with each mission givers, including some missions which weren't really missions. Like, for instance, there was a mission where you were going to go to G-Lock, meet Ticia Pacheco, and just get drunk with her. That was it. You were just drinking and talking with her was the mission. And it was sort of like once you reach a certain level of trust, she would sit down and she'd talk to you about her past and like what her plans are and how you were going to factor into those. But every mission giver had that. Ticia had it. I always forget. Tessa had it. Miles had it. Clovis had it. All of them had these mission chains that were not only written out, but acted out and voice acted in terms of the full chain. And then they all connected to each other. So like Ticia would send you to I think she had sent you to the not Clovis, but to what's his name? The junkie on
Wallace.
Not Constant. Wallace Clip.
Yeah.
And I think Miles Eckhart sent you to Ticia in the first place. Like, the idea is that you do these missions and they would send you to these different mission givers, and so you would have this mission chain. Think of it like GTA, like how GTA would do its missions, where you go with like this one group and then they would send you to another group and then they'd send you another group and you just bounce around. That was the storylines between these different mission givers.
Yeah.
Now I think that's changed. That's definitely changed in terms of their approach. But I don't think that they're going to go away with the whole, like, you have a person, you'll have cutscenes or moments with these mission givers that's part of the mission chain that you don't get with the standalone missions. And it, like, they've even mentioned, I think they mentioned it in 2023, where they're planning on doing like a 1 to 2 hour info mission where like it's fully siloed out, where it's just you. And it's a full cinematic entrance into Star Citizen as it is. So
I say do it.
And
yeah,
storyline.
I'm here for it.
You know, and I think that's really the difference between like the mission where you're like, you're like, for instance, right now you can do those missions that are like go to do the full Onyx missions and Site B, and I think it's Hyperion missions. Like, I think in the future those will have cutscenes, and then when you do the just the random missions that you can do afterwards, the expansions, they don't have cutscenes, but it's still the same mission stuff. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Basically, how they make all of that work is going to be interesting to see with the instances. The biggest thing that I care about. We talked a lot about the specifics of Star Citizen on this show. To be quite honest, I'm happy to just be in a space game, which I think is why I don't really ever get too pissed about any one change. It's the general direction they're going, and the one thing that I really don't want to see this game lose, that will get me pissed, is that feeling of being in an environment that is not purpose built. You're going to a place, depends on what you're doing at that place is the way you're looking at it. But the things that you've done there previously are still there. Ships that get shot down for other reasons, loot that gets dropped because somebody shot it. All that stuff is still happening and present. And it makes you feel like you're in a world that exists and doesn't necessarily have a reason of just, this is a mission location. So
it doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah. And I do hope that these locations, even when they are doing that with cutscenes and then with the separate missions, those separate missions, I really hope feel natural in the location. So, main storyline is Terra versus Earth. And everybody's going to have to pick their side. But you did mention there are a lot of other mysteries in Star Citizen. And I think those mysteries are what people think of when they think of exploration. Do you really think CIG is going to get players more involved in those things and make stories out of them?
Yes, I think they will, but they have to figure out how to do it. The Onyx missions are a great example of that. There is a full story of Onyx. If you haven't, if you can go there and do the Onyx missions, the Project Hyperion missions, and never actually interact with the story. You can kind of pick up a little bit when you listen to the what the mission giver is telling you to do.
Yeah.
But there's also audio logs. And if you understand the audio logs there and the audio logs at Stormbreaker, which are connected, then you sort of understand the timeline of how things will work out. And it's really the story of Dr. Yorit, who is absolutely the most arrogant, most up his own ass guy that Star Citizen has. This man believes he knows everything. But he is only he's an expert in effectively regen. He's an expert in medical biology. Biology, or just sort of the science of regen. But he thinks he's also an engineer. He also thinks he's like a philosopher. He literally believes that his work is going to save humanity, and he looks up to the Van Duel and all the stuff you don't know unless you listen to the audio files that are left around. And I do think that CIG is playing around with how to tell a story in a sandbox, where if you're a player who's normally skip, let me get to the gameplay, then you'll actually understand what's going on. You'll still understand what's going on without having to go through those audio files. But if you want to know the story, there'll be places where you can go.
I love that. How do you think they're doing right now with dotting story into, let's take Rock Cracker as the newest example?
They're doing better. Rock Cracker isn't really a lot of story because it's mostly seems to be set up like a repeatable dungeon, but it has enough what is it called?
I guess sequencing.
Yes. Sorry. It has ambient storytelling. It has sort of a
world building,
but it's a sort of I'm trying to say the right. I'm blanking on the name of it because I just remember the skeletons from Fallout, where it's it's done in a way that it tells a story even if it's funny, but it's and this is something that CIG has become really good at, which is the ambiance. You can tell how old something is by looking at it. You can experience There are some rare L's that they do, like the space stations in Pyro are some rare L's in terms of their design, because they work for a mood, but they don't work for storytelling. Because it just adds why are you burning a can in the middle of the space station? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, dude, those stations need some help.
Environmental storytelling is what I was trying to think about. Yeah, the environmental storytelling.
Okay.
They're really good at environmental storytelling. And I think they're doing good on that one. But I really hope that they do a little bit better. They did really good with the Shattered Blade missions, because there's an entire laptop where you find some the data points to help you unlock certain places, like security codes and stuff like that. And if you look through some of those emails in that laptop, it talks about we're going to go meet these ASD guys. The ASD guys are a no-show. Where are these ASD guys? And it's clearly where did Yort get all of these Vandul things? From the Shattered Blade. It's sort of connecting to that Yort storyline a little bit, right? Where those Vandal parts are coming from, which is why the Vandal are mad, because these people have managed to raid the raiders and take their stuff, and of course they're not good at hiding their tracks, so the Vandal know where they are and are coming after to get their stuff back. So
it's all
that's an interesting sort of tie-in.
Yeah, a story and a line that you can follow through. And it does, again, bring back the idea of how is a player meant to progress through this in 1.0, because the storyline starts in Pyro, which is technically the end game in 1.0.
Yeah.
So it's all...
It's reverse,
work in progress. Yeah.
It's going to be reverse. I actually love the idea that that you can start in Stanton and then you get to the end of the story, which is actually the beginning of the story. So you go... Oh, now it all pieces together where everything goes, because or middle of the story. So you have Yorit, and then you have in Onyx. But the reason why Yorit's in Onyx in the first place is because he was in Onyx and then left, and then went to Pyro and then came back. And
so they kind of going to have to write the intros to these missions to be able to be. You can get into them from any order.
Point.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Tough writing.
And I think it's tough, but I think they're able to do it. And especially if they start doing those, what we talked about, cutscenes and story missions, because as long as you have those hooks in those points, if people are engaged with Ticia Pacheco or Recca Battaglia or any of the mission givers, then they'll go, okay, I am now invested. But what was that thing that she said? What was that thing that I saw? And then you can chase that down later.
They have to say it. We can't read, okay? Chris, I see you back there. Remember that.
Chris, we can't read. All right, we're all illiterate.
Let me meet someone to tell me.
Yes.
Well, honestly, the story is really an exciting part of this game. It's more what I'm usually interested in the game. I love the group gameplay, but man, a good story in a space environment is... that gets me going. It's provocative. All right, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me for this talk, my dude.
Thank you for having me.
Can you please let the folks know where they can find more of your wonderful, wonderful lore content and good capsules?
YouTube.com/the Astro Historian. And if you want my capsules, my little takes on Star Citizen that I do on Thursdays on my office hour streams, you can catch those on twitch.tv/the Astropub and youtube.com/the Astropub live. So I do actually have a capsule which is coming out, which should already be out now, on my take on the whole drama of what's going on.
Oh boy.
With, I don't usually wade into drama, so I'm hoping it's not going to get blown up in my face. But I also have one on the other thing we didn't talk about, which is the battle cruiser and how CIG is using lore to tease the battle cruiser. So it's fun.
Oh, I'll go watch that one. Yeah, you got to go check out the comments on that now. Wading into the drama is always a good time in Star Citizen. But definitely go check those out, folks. If you jump into the live stream or anything like that, you might see me in chat. I like to come and cause some trouble and be a nuisance. But I thank you, man. Thank you so much for the content you put out, for joining me for this talk, for giving me your Friday afternoon/evening so that we can give more info to the people. And thank you, people, all of you lovely individuals, for listening and or watching. And if you don't like watching and just want to listen, we're on audio platforms and they're pretty nice. If you find yourself on Spotify, consider a review, maybe a rating, possibly send it to a friend who also likes Star Citizen stuff. As I said, we hit a new topic every week with new guests, and I'm always looking for suggestions in the comments. Thanks again for checking this one out, folks. Hope you learned something new here. See y'all next week.